Hi friends, welcome back to another video. Realising right now that I have not filmed when it's dark, when I've showered, have a fat pimple patch on in forever. These yellow, awful, unflattering tones have not been in my videos for quite some time. I hope you're well. It's Monday, a new week since I last vlogged. I've been getting the hang of this uni situation. I'm doing much better. The whole package is just becoming less overwhelming, less tiring, and I can just do it a bit more smoothly. It's still hard and it's like, oh, use the brain, keep thinking, it's like go, 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 but I've handed in the first couple of assignments now. I feel like, yes, it's so much work, but like, I know I can do it. So thank you for joining me for another week of balancing it all and importantly sprinkling in other beautiful stuff to fill my cup, even if it has some cost to my energy levels, isn't the most optimal thing for fatigue. I'm learning benefits to doing things, making plans, seeing friends on weekends. Maybe the cost is more in my head than I thought, and a mindset shift can actually help with a lot of the imagined fatigued hangover, psychological like bracing for fatigue hangovers and cost to my physical symptoms. It's part of the picture, and paying attention to that, chipping away at the accuracy of those thoughts and challenging them is kind of being a bit life-changing. Because I'm realizing now I have more opportunities for socializing because I can socialize while feeling a bit achy, a bit fatigued. All to say I'm doing a bit better and I'm excited to spend the week with you. I'm Phoebe if you're new. I'm doing a diploma of library studies so that hopefully in about 12 months time I can have some consistent, reliable income that is not dependent on freelance work in a creative industry. At a health food shop this afternoon, I found a chocolate pudding that I thought was discounted by an independent vegan creamery, and I also thought it had a cashew base, but it doesn't, so I bought it because cashews can be a bit FODMAPy for me. So I'm gonna go downstairs and have a nice little before bed cooking moment and make a chocolate chia pudding. Hope you're doing well and this reaches you at a needed but okay time. It's now Thursday afternoon and I've just been having a little applique prep sesh. I found this perfectly fitting top at an op shop and I thought that's my next target. I've been dabbling in applique and I've been finding it's like the perfect thing to do in stages, to do like freestyle. Like you don't have to come up with a perfect pattern and cut it out super precisely. You don't have to line things up precisely. And once you've got everything and you're on the sewing machine, you're just outlining all your prep beforehand. And that's like the perfect amount of focus to have an episode of something on in the background. Not that I love saturating myself with stimuli when I'm trying to do something to fill my cup. As I mentioned, I think in like the accommodations video, really liking just walking without music, like just being a bit more one thing at one time and enjoying what's in front of me. However, I've been really wanting to watch the latest season of Bake Off to the point where I've had like a subscription to the streaming service for like 3 months now and haven't watched it. So I'm finally watching it while doing applique. I'm really enjoying doing flowers. I think these like puffy additions to the design, adding a little bit of blue, will hopefully result in a garment I'm very happy to wear. As I alluded to in my last vlog, the last few weeks since going back to uni have been an adjustment, a learning curve in figuring out how I can fit in my creative cup filling time along with uni work and other paid work. And I feel like I'm preaching to the choir, like it's a pretty neurodivergent friendly corner of the internet we got here, but some who are watching might be thinking, like, it's not that deep, like you just have less time for your creative pursuits, Phoebe. And yes, I know, but they are so regulating, like so good at affirming my like sense of self. They are dissolving of depressive symptoms, and I feel like they're just a really good way to regularly expose yourself to like challenge and discomfort and the uncomfortable pathway that is like a creative project, whether it's small or big, and like regularly conditioning that muscle just generally makes life more manageable. So I do take them seriously, and special interests of neurodivergent people have been studied and they do have all those benefits, like they are that deep. How it's worked out is essentially I'm still engaging with them. I'm just being more intentional, like truly less is more. I'll not sew a whole project, but I'll sit myself down and be like, okay, you're not going to have a wearable thing at the end of this, but you're going to cut things out and lay them out so you can sew it all together in another sesh. And if I find myself getting annoyed that I'm not making a lot of progress, I just have kind of like a pre-game chat to be like, this is what your life looks like right now. This is still helping you work towards goals or allowing you dabble in this thing which you get so much from, and therefore I'm like reminded of my why, and it's okay. The enjoyment is like still there big time. I recently took 2 classes on Skillshare, who is the sponsor of today's video, creative sewing on a dime and self-care through creativity, that both taught me skills to make my creative practice like more sustainable, less overwhelming and less anxiety inducing. Moira's class helped remind me that sewing resources are all around, and that when I started getting back into sewing in January, I was kind of overcomplicating it, thinking I had to dream up projects from scratch. And after taking that class, I've kind of changed my approach with the projects I take on. Working with like pre-made things and making them my own is really ideal for my skill level and ideal for the amount of like brain power and time I have right now to dedicate to sewing. And then Sarah Beth's class just really cemented the benefits of the process of making art, like how it can help us move through emotions, give us something cathartic to do with our hands, and really help me ease the pressure I put on myself to come up with this perfect end result. The first Skillshare class I took years ago was Erin McKenna's Going Gluten-Free class, which is so well produced, as beautiful as a Nigella episode, and extremely informative. I watched it when I was doing research about gluten-free baking before opening my micro bakery, Biscuit Tin Bakery, and I think that captures like the very best of what Skillshare does. It's an online community of creative classes taught by creatives who are some of the very best in their field. It makes learning feel more accessible, more enjoyable and engaging. It's the best place to build on your creative skills or take up a new hobby, and in the age of AI and shorter content, I think it's a more effective and lasting place to learn from other people and use your brain. And right now, thanks to Skillshare, the first 500 people to use my link in the description or scan the QR code will receive a 1-month free trial of Skillshare. Before I put this project to the side to probably finish on the weekend, a really cool tip I learnt on TikTok, which seems to be serving me well, is instead of pinning each individual piece down and sewing around each one while they're kind of a bit flappy and like separate from the fabric, just use a glue stick which applies well to the interfacing side, and then just stick it on your fabric because it will wash off, but you do need to leave it for a chunk of time to dry. So woohoo, let's yoo-hoo. Since I'm in a yappy mood, let's do a show and tell of the things I've sewn since I last saw you and that I'm loving, as well as other non-sewing general things I'm liking lately. As I mentioned, Applique and I are proving quite agreeable, and the first thing I've made this year, which I'm like happy to wear, is this purple long sleeve applique tulip top. I bought the top at an op shop. With my overlocking hemming knowledge, I hemmed that and added these tulips. I accidentally put a hole in the top on this one and then ran out of thread, and I don't want to talk about it. The patch job is really bad, but I don't really care. Like, it's very sweet and it just evokes a certain types of arty whimsiness that I really like. Every time I wear it, I get compliments. Someone told me it looked really expensive. I'm like, this is the encouragement I need. I'm still not really sure how to hem slightly stretchy fabric without it slightly warping, and going forward want to try and not put holes in my clothing. But for a first substantial applique attempt, I'm like kicking my feet. Very happy. Before I made that, I attempted 2 tops, which I'm not going to be wearing. I bought this nice rib stretchy fabric to make vest situation, but the handmade sort of bias tape that I used to put around the neck and shoulders was even more stretchy, and you can see just like a massive fail whale happened in that whole arena. And then after that I was like, let's try it again without the bias so it's a bit simpler, same shape. I put some darts in because of course I had to make it harder for myself again, but this one was made out of a very large women's striped tee that was like $5 from the op shop, so I was pretty happy for this to just be like a learning exercise. For some reason it turned out quite uneven and the darts are a bit long, so they make my titties look very pointy. Won't be wearing this, but learnt some valuable skills. And then I'm so excited to show you this. I made a pillow, both out of materials and like the process in both of those Skillshare classes that I took. And this concept of a spiral pillow and putting these like spiky type things on the edge, none of which are my idea. There are so many small independent pillow brands. Credit to all of them, just like gleaned some epic pillow inspiration and just went for it, freestyled the questionable pattern. It was a tough one to turn inside out and an even tougher one to stuff, but we got there. It's very mesmerizing to look at. Then moving on to like some general other things I'm enjoying, I recently got this striped fleecy pullover that you saw me wearing at an op shop, and I tried it on there and I was like, this fabric is so me. Should I just buy it for the fabric and chop it up? But then I brought it home. I was like, I do like wish I could just wear it. My reservation, like, it fit, but it just wasn't like flattering. I started doing this thing where if I'm not sure if I want to like give away something, or if my mum's like, do you want this, like, and I'm not sure, I'll just like put it somewhere else in my wardrobe to like kind of forget about it. And in the case of finding something at an op shop, I think it just like helps me take a break from it, and then when I come back to it, I'm encountering it with like less anxiety and like the kind of grosser feelings that you experience when like trying on clothes, or like the judgment I impose on garments when I'm in a dressing room. And then who would have thunk it, when I tried it on again, I was like in my pajamas, I'm like, I love this as a loungy jumper. Like, it doesn't need to be flattering, it's really cozy, I love the stripe. And the other loungy jumper I wear over pajamas, which I'm not a dressing gown person, too bulky, hate the tie around the middle, and the Damson Matter loungy jumper I've been wearing for the last however many years, you know what, see me through some tough times. Sometimes I was very fatigued, you know, like lying in bed all day, really not well, like sweaty. It's a bit faded, very worn in. Point of all this is that I'm happy to have an upgrade. This summer I got an eczema armpit problem after I wanted to stop using Wild deodorant, which I've been using for years, no issue, because it's been recently bought by Unilever. So then I went to Fussy, which is like a UK, I don't know, everyone's probably heard of them, meant to be very good. I didn't buy their sensitive ones though, which I should have, probably to start, because I was trying a different brand, and they made my armpits so itchy. And I didn't have like horrifically bad eczema, but it was to the point where I couldn't use any natural deodorants, which I had, or anything fragranted or scented. So then I went back to like regular deodorant while that cleared up and I wasn't making it worse. And I was like, I want to go back to something natural, and I did my research. I found this Australian one called Woohoo. This isn't an ad, it's Australian owned and made, and they do some bicarb free ones, which is great because I've been using this no problem. I love that it's a fully compostable applicator situation. This has no scent at all, but some of their other bicarb free and other natural ones do. And my local health food store stocks it, which is great because I was paying shipping. Being summer and someone who has dysautonomia, POTS like presentation, I've mentioned this many times, but I need to be very hydrated and making sure I'm like having a bit more salt than the average person. And I had been using Soddy, the salty electrolyte brand, but I wasn't really using them through winter, and the passion fruit one, which is a great flavour, but the sugar had sort of crystallized and it was not dissolving and just very hard to get out of the container. I also had though their natural unflavoured variety, which is awesome because you can put it in whatever you like, but it's not sweet. And I was buying like the odd iced tea to like put it in, but then I realised I could be using some homemade lemonade that I made, I don't know how long ago, but surely that's not something that goes off, that was in the fridge, and it's in this big jar. I don't have much of it left, and I'm just really enjoying making my own decaf lemon Maya cordial iced tea situation because I have all those things on hand, and also the sugar in the cordial does not disagree with my tummy. And then last one, I recently bought the Starface, as you can see, pimple patches, and they do work better than every single other one on the market, and it's like, that's just great because their design is the cutest. They are like $1 a patch, I think, so not cheap, and I don't think pink is my colour. They really work and they really stay on and you feel cute, so I guess some things do live up to the hype. I just made my mum's birthday card, inspired by a concept I've seen around, Lots of candles on a cake, can't go wrong. I got the cardboard for the candles from a toilet roll, drew funky patterns on them. She asked for some Japanese embroidery supplies, so that is what this parcel of goodies is. It is Saturday now. Yesterday afternoon I had a hang with the awesome person who hosted my book launch last November. We went to this place called Pickles Milk Bar, which is like a vegan sandwich and shakes milk bar. Incredible vibes, the best sandwiches, most can be made gluten-free, and it was awesome. I do think I towed the line, like I really went to the edge of how fatigued I can be while socializing, or at least I went to my edge where I'm so tired I find it harder to advocate for myself. Like we went for a walk at the end and I should have said let's turn around sooner. I'm trying not to be hard on myself, it's just a journey of learning those skills when they don't come so naturally. I've had awesome conversations with so many friends about doing life tired and how that's kind of the reality of life, and how when you reach a level of acceptance around that, the joy in social situations can like bloom, so it's not all bad. But yeah, adult life, hey. Even if you're not burnt out, neurodivergent, or have a invisible disability or whatever. I don't have big plans this weekend. Odd jobs, maybe a bit of sewing, cooking, hanging out with Merlin, resting. Good job.